Thank you very much for joining the BIC session today. I'm just going to share my screen very quickly. Give me a couple of seconds and we can start the session. Hopefully now you're all able to see my screen. What we're going to discuss today is basically a journey of our Enactus alumni that have joined BIC through the Enactus network. So you'll meet Anna, who will represent the 3 alumni that we've had over the last few years. My name is Claudia, as Charlie mentioned. I'm the Enactus UK and BIC partnership lead. But my day-to-day role is senior category manager. Within our Enactus alumni, we have Laura, who joined BIC as marketing executive, then progressed through to junior product manager, and she's been with BIC for just over 3 years. And now she's moved on to assistant brand manager at Heineken. We've also got Anna on the call today, who's our sales executive, and Ned, who you all may know from various Enactus marketing materials and also through his Enactus participation in the last few years. He's also joined BIC as sales executive in the last couple of years. So today we'll take you through a bit about BIC, BIC sustainability development, the BIC corporate foundation. I'll talk you through Enactus UK and BIC and how to land an opportunity with us, and then I'll hand over to Anna, who will talk you through her experience and give you some hopefully great tips for interviews. So a little bit about BIC. So as you can see, it all started with a vision and a pen. And I think what we take real pride in to this day is that BIC is still owned by the BIC family. So we remained a family-owned business throughout all these years. So it started with Marcel BIC, and the company is now owned by Gonzalo BIC. A bit about our history here. I've just pointed out a few iconic products that you may recognize. So it all started with the BIC Crystal original pen in 1950. Then the first BIC lighter was introduced to the market in 1973. And then our very well-known first BIC one-piece shaver was introduced in 1975. Now, this is not very commonly known. A lot of people don't know this about BIC, but BIC actually acquired Tipex in 1997. So we also own the Correction brand. And Anna will expand on the topic a little bit further in a second, but we also work to embrace the sustainable development and expand and continue to expand our horizons in the more recent years. So back in 2009, we're the first European manufacturer of writing instruments that have acquired the eco label called NF. So we take pride in having eco credentials. We have partnered with TerraCycle Europe. We have an exclusive partnership with them. So again, something that we take real pride in and something that helps us in the sustainable development mission. And we also have made some additional acquirements with the company through a brand called Dupe, which is expanding our lighters portfolio, and then Rocketbook, which is a digital writing company, which will help us expand our horizons further. So as I mentioned before, we're a global company with really strong presence across all of the categories globally, and we are known for quality. In line with our mission and purpose, we offer high quality, inventive and reliable product solutions that are respectful to our environment. And this is to really create a long-term value for all of the stakeholders. And Enactus is a very big part of this, but our commitment is to improve equality in education for all by enhancing learning conditions of students globally. So I'll now hand over to Anna to take you through our commitment to sustainable development, and you can find out more on the sustainability part of our website as well.
Hi, I'm Anna. I was an Enactus member in 2020, but I'll talk about that later. So sustainability is part of BIC's DNA. So for example, in stationery, you have the Crystal Original, which you probably all have used at least once in your life. It can write for at least 2 kilometers, and we use limited quantity of raw material to produce it. For lighters, for example, the iconic BIC Maxi, which can light up to 3,000 times. And lastly, in shaver, we have BIC 3, which is one of our bestseller razors, and it can be used for 17 shaves. So we've been involved in sustainability for more than 20 years, and we want to continue to do so. So in 1950 with the crystal pen, and then 1994 with the first life cycle assessment for pens, lighters, and shaver. In 2009, we were the first manufacturers to receive the French Eco label, which we are very proud of having. And 2018 and 2020, we've added 5 key commitments, and we launched our Horizon strategy, which our aim is to accelerate sustainable growth. So considering all aspects, so starting with environmental, we've reduced our greenhouse gas emissions, our energy, our water usage, and our waste production. On a social point of view, our CEO joined the CEO Action for Diversity and Inclusion. We also signed the UN Standards of Conduct for business tracking discrimination against LGBT and intersex people. And we've also invested in 12,000 training days for permanent employees. And on a societal view, 1 million euros were used in product donations and financial aid worldwide. We have 82 volunteer operations, and 65% of big factories are located in countries with no human rights risk. Next one. Our key achievements and results for our reducing environmental footprint across our 3 categories. So reducing, we want to reduce our raw material consumption. Recycle, we want to replace virgin plastic by using recycled or alternative materials. So for example, our new range of shave, we are using 30 to 90% recycled plastic handles. Refillability, we want to reduce the overall plastic consumption by proposing refills, so making our products more longer lasting and more conscious about the environment. And recyclability, we support the availability of recycled plastics by ensuring our products and packaging are recyclable. So we have partnered with TerraCycle and Ubiquity, which I'll explain a bit more in the next slide. So like I said, we are partnering with TerraCycle. So basically, if you go, for example, to a ramen store, you'll see these places where you can just recycle your pens that you no longer use or can't use. And these can be big branded, Pentel, Zebra, other brands. They take any stationery that you're not using, any products that you can't use anymore, and then these pens are collected and used to manufacture benches and other outdoor furniture. So we're doing the full circular economy. And in 2021, we collected 9 million stationery products across 6 EU countries. So on Writing the Future Together program, our 5 major commitments are below, and we are well on track to achieve them. So the first one is fostering sustainable innovation, acting against climate change, committing to a safe work environment, proactively involving suppliers, and lastly, improving lives through education.
And I'll now take you through the BIC Corporate Foundation and how BIC local subsidiaries work with the BIC Corporate Foundation, which really supports us on goal number 5, which is improving lives through education. So the BIC Corporate Foundation has had focus on development of creative skills, which can be shown through a variety of different areas. So you've got art, music, body expression, entrepreneurship, spoken word, and creative writing. And this is going to become more and more familiar to you the more you hear about BIC Enactus partnership, especially with the UK. Why does the Corporate Foundation focus on those key skills? Well, that's because today's education system is based on hard skill learning, memorizing things, and a very much unilateral teacher-learner relationship. So all in all, it's not really suited to prepare the school children of today for the world of tomorrow. So the Corporate Foundation is really focusing on the future generations who will have to work in highly digitalized and automated world, with a big demand on a strong social and emotional skills. So the art and creative skills are going to really help. The Corporate Foundations projects have a global reach. So in the UK, this is through the Enactus UK partnership. There's also Enactus Kenya, and a partner with Enactus US. And they add purpose through volunteering. So there's a lot of volunteering opportunities that are offered to the BIC employees all over the world. And they bridge their business and the non-profit sector together through different initiatives. In the bottom left corner, you can see an example of initiative that the Corporate Foundation has worked with young women participating in Revel programs, and they've designed a collection to celebrate young girls and women in France. So it's all about kind of limited editions, collections, fundraising, and really purposeful marketing campaigns. And with Enactus and BIC, we receive a lot of support from the Corporate Foundation, but I'll talk you through the Enactus and BIC partnership. So the overall relationship has begun in 1998, so very much long-standing with over 20 years. The BIC teams have sponsored different events, judged competitions, mentored the students and supported student businesses. More recently, so in 2021, Gonzalez BIC has joined Enactus as global chair. So it's become even more of a business priority to drive Enactus and help the partnership all over the world. And Enactus projects align with our Writing the Future Together commitments, as Anna has mentioned earlier. And it really contributes to our goal of improving the learning conditions of 250 million children globally by 2025. In the UK specifically, we have partnered with Enactus over the last 4 years. We have specific mentor BIC teams that help mentor different student projects. We have coaches that offer one-on-one mentoring and coaching, and then various events throughout the year. And you'll find out about one that's coming up in the near future at the end of the presentation. And like I said at the start, we also have 3 Enactus employees. Before I hand over to Anna to talk you through her experience and how to use Enactus or skills gained through Enactus in your interviews and job search process, I want to encourage everybody to have a look at our careers website and apply to our talent pool. So we encourage dynamic and forward-thinking individuals who model the BIC values to apply to our talent pool. And we recruit all over Europe in more than 16 countries. And we offer great opportunities for international mobility among our teams. So the first link, which you'll receive at the end of the session, is for our talent pool. So here you can apply and leave your kind of details and CV, so that if there is anything in the future that comes up, you'll already be on our system. And you can find out more information about working for BIC on our careers site. So we always have the up-to-date job postings, whether it's in the UK or globally. So you can find out more there. Our jobs are always also posted on the Enactus alumni program job board. So do keep an eye out on those as well. So I'll hand over to Anna now to talk you through the Enactus employee experience.
So I'm representing myself and Ned today, who can't be here. So I was an Enactus team member for Enactus Bedfordshire. It was a brief experience due to joining before the COVID pandemic hit, but during my brief time in Enactus, I discussed new projects and how to develop existing projects and brainstormed recruitment process so to get more people into Enactus. On Ned's side, he was in Enactus Nottingham. He was a local innovation and local portfolio team member, and he developed new businesses. He worked with the rest of the team to create business plans. He created a safe and work environment for everyone, and he managed 3 of the local businesses. Some of the skills we both acquired, which are very important for us and are helping us in our day-to-day life at BIC, are organization, time management, creativity, teamwork, among others. Yeah, so Ned and myself, we are both sales support executives at BIC, and our roles include, but are not just these 4 points. So we are responsible for keeping online content up to date. So if you go on Wilco, Ryman websites, etc., we are the ones that are helping keep up that content, and we set up new products on Amazon. We also send samples to customers when required. So if we want to get a new product launched on, I don't know, Morrison's, we'll send a sample so they can look at the product and decide if they want to take it or not. We also support the sales teams and customers with product information queries, etc. And we collaborate with marketing and assist where and when needed. So how does Enactus benefit in me, and how you can also use it in your career? So by having access to the Enactus alumni email, you will have access to job postings. That's literally how I was aware about this position at BIC, and I would probably not be here if I didn't see that email and applied. So I would suggest for you guys to always be checking your emails and applying to anything that piques your interest. Even if you're not sure, just try it out. You never know. I didn't know if I would like my position. I'm here for 2 years now, so I guess I enjoy it. And discussing points for interviews. So you can talk about your experiences and results with your Enactus team members, learn from them, get some advice, and definitely you can practice for your interviews. That will massively help. And also using the skills learned through Enactus. So teamwork, support skills, those skills will be very valuable for your career. So try and learn as much as you can, get involved with a lot of things. Always say yes, be proactive, and that will help you in your future. So some things to consider in a professional environment. So it's quite different to working with students versus colleagues in a professional environment, but definitely being involved with Enactus will give you a lever against people that weren't in Enactus, because you already have some experience that they don't have, so that's a plus. And companies are process driven, so a lot of background work to make it happen. You will have a lot to do, so don't get discouraged, keep going. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You can learn from your colleagues, and always don't be afraid to ask questions, don't be afraid to ask questions. Everyone will try and support you. Ned and I had made a lot of mistakes, but everyone was always supportive and helped in that culture change and making us better employees. And cross-functional working, so as I was saying, learn from as many people as you can and learn about different departments. So how would you showcase Enactus to potential employers? So for example, BIC already knows what Enactus is and what Enactus does, but how would you sell Enactus to people that don't really know what Enactus is? You should describe what you've learned and how has Enactus taught you things that could benefit the company. What does it mean for them? So you should always prepare an elevator pitch. You never know when you'll have the opportunity to, I don't know, meet a CEO of a company you really want to join, or someone that has some influence and that could help you land a job in the company. So prepare an elevator pitch. Can you hear me? So good. So yeah, prepare an elevator pitch, 30 seconds, a minute, try and display like what Enactus taught you. How could you be a plus to the company? That will definitely help. You never know, like I said, when the opportunity arises to sell yourself and Enactus to the company. And don't be afraid to reach out to me or Claudia or anyone at Enactus. We can try and help you and get the points across that you want. So work on your employability while still at university. So you should get involved, like I said before, learn as much as possible, get involved with anything, always say yes if you obviously have the time. Create a LinkedIn profile and attend networking events. So also don't be afraid to connect with people that you don't know on LinkedIn. So I don't know, if you want to join, for example, BIC, you can always connect with me, with Claudia, with anyone at BIC, ask us questions like how did we land the job? What's our positions? What do we do in our positions? Because having those connections, and when you apply, it's always a plus because you can have conversations, you can learn more, they will already know a bit about you, so it can help you land a job. I've had friends that landed a job because of a connection on LinkedIn, so it's always good to don't be afraid and reach out to people that you don't know. And try not to feel under pressure if you don't know what you want to do yet. Try everything and find out what you enjoy. Also, don't be discouraged if you apply to a lot of jobs and you don't get an answer back. That's very, very normal. I applied to a lot of jobs before joining BIC, and I got maybe 10 answers back. So it's quite frustrating, but it's normal. And also lastly, create a standout TV, and also like your cover letters. A lot of companies ask for cover letters. In my opinion, you shouldn't just use a generalized one. You can use it, but always try and personalize it to the company you're applying for. But yeah, if you have the time, you should always try and write a cover letter from scratch.
Absolutely.
And yeah, that's my advice for you. I don't know if Claudia, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I mean, this is absolutely great advice, I guess, coming from the other perspective of someone who's recruiting for roles, from the employer's perspective. If you have a standout CV that's tailored to the company that you're applying for, the role that you're applying for, it really shows the employer that you want that specific opportunity, so you're more likely to get an interview because you're showing the ambition for that specific role. In terms of getting involved and learning as much as possible, I can talk from my personal experience as a graduate a few years ago. Yeah, I mean, my journey to becoming a category manager is essentially getting involved and butting in as many projects as a graduate as possible. So I started as a sales executive, similar to Anna and Ned, in a different company than Vic, but I was lucky enough that I could get involved. I asked questions, I made sure that I could get involved in different projects that weren't necessarily related to my specific job description. And that's how I discovered what I do now. And you know, 6-7 years ago, I didn't even know what category management was. And you know, so you don't, when you're in a position when you don't know what you don't know, you need to get involved and ask questions. And in terms of LinkedIn profiles, absolutely, to Anna's point, no one will ever kind of judge you for sending out a message. In fact, it shows positive kind of proactive attitude. So if you reach out to anybody asking about, I don't know, a specific role that you want to find out more, or a specific job position that you may not know about yet, but you want to explore, you're always get a reply and get somewhat a recognition for doing so. Messages like that stick in people's minds. Oh, so we're coming on to kind of the Q&A session. Does anyone have any questions? Charlie, if you could help me out a little bit, do we have any more questions in the chat?
We've got a question from Mohammed about making a CV through ATS. I'm not too sure what ATS is. No,
me neither. Please do elaborate.
It'll be good to elaborate. I had a question actually for you both. If you had to give kind of one piece of advice to students at this stage of their education, what would that be? In terms of landing a graduate role, or just their development in general?
I would say if you're still at university, I guess to Anna's point earlier, connect with people, network, and make sure you are thinking about how the skills that you're learning at university and through Enactus are going to apply for any roles in the future. So whilst you're still at university, not necessarily thinking about or knowing what you want to do in the future, just think about the skills. So whether it's teamwork, whether it's presentation skills, whether it's organization, if you're studying a very specific degree that, you know, may lead to a more specific role, think about everything that you're doing that may contribute to that.
I want to add that searching for a job is a full-time job in itself. So take some breaks. Don't be discouraged if you don't hear back. Just if you're not motivated, just take a day off or 2 days off, or do something that you like. Try and distract yourself, and then when you're back after that day or two off, you'll be much more motivated and you can do a better job again at finding a job.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. I can see the chat now. So it looks like application tracking system is what ATS stands for. So I guess it depends. BIC has obviously an application tracking system. I think one of them commonly used one is called Smart Recruiters. This is kind of what we use internally. And I would say in our case, yes, it helps because it helps the employers filter through the applications. We personally, or from our perspective, I know every single application actually gets looked at, so it's not automated kind of process. So whilst it helps to get every application in the same format, it makes them a bit more comparable. It makes the process a lot easier for the employer. But if your concern is that it's kind of automatic, no, there is still a human element to it, at least from BIC perspective.
Can I just add on to that, actually, Claudia, just from a kind of Enactus UK
go for it.
A good piece of advice is to, and there are lots of kind of free open source softwares available online where you can actually run your CV through an application tracking system piece of software to check for like mistakes and check to see how it assesses your CV in the same way that those systems assess it. So that's a good way to make sure that your CV isn't going to fall foul of some of those kind of more typical automatic kind of disregarding of a CV. That's just more general advice rather than anything specific to BIC. I know we've got a hand raised from Mayank. So go ahead, Mayank.
Thank you, Charlie. Claudia, can I just ask, what is the most attractive skill that the recruiters from BIC would use to sort or select the profiles?
Most important skill that BIC recruiters would select candidates from?
Yep.
Is that your question?
Yep.
I think it wildly depends on the role, but from my experience, I know attitude is something you can't learn. Skills like specific skills for any role is something that you can probably pick up on and learn from practicing. But your attitude, your ambition and the drive is something that all employers will look for, because it is something that is part of your kind of character, and it's something so important. Because when we assess your profiles, I guess we look at, okay, can you do the job? Great. But will you do the job is another topic.
And that's quite a unique insight that you've just shared. But how to display it then on the CV was my main question.
I think a couple of points Anna mentioned earlier is personalizing your cover letter or your personal statement on your CV to the role that you're applying for, to the company that you're applying for. Think about how you can demonstrate that you've researched the role, before applying. And I guess really demonstrating attitude and ambition and drive through your achievements. So when you're writing your CV, whether or not you have specific job experience, have a think about your achievements, as this is something that will clearly demonstrate to the employers your drive and attitude towards any given goal.
In my opinion, you can also look at it as an exercise. So you see the job post and you see what they're looking for. Sometimes they even mention the skills they want. So Excel, I don't know, other softwares. If you have experience in that, you can answer the needs by putting that in your CV. So if they say, we need someone with 1 to 2 years experience, you can obviously highlight that and what have you done in that year that will benefit you and put you in front of other candidates. So it's like a question and answer. So you have to be the answer to their question in looking for someone. So it's a bit of an exercise.
We've got we've got a question from Harshad, who says, hi Claudia, what is the vision and mission of BIC in the coming years?
Sure. I guess it's something that we've already touched on. So the mission and purpose of BIC isn't something that changes. It's very much ingrained in the core kind of values of the company, and it's to offer high quality, inventive and reliable products and solutions that are respectful to our environment and to create long-term value for all stakeholders. So that's the mission and purpose of BIC as a company. And I guess as we've touched on through our more recent initiatives, through sustainable development and the Writing the Future Together programme, we are really accelerating our position from the sustainable standpoint, whether it's, you know, the 4 R's commitment, acting against climate change, committing to safe work environment, and also proactively improving lives through education. So all of this is encompassed in the mission and purpose of the company.
Cool. Got a couple of questions now. I'll kind of group 2 of them together because they're quite similar. Just a question about internships for international students and kind of opportunities in general for international students.
I guess there was already a question in the chat earlier on from international kind of sponsorship side of things. I personally don't know, but it's something I'll take away and find out, and I'll pass on the message to Charlie, who'll be able to let you know about that specific area, about sponsorship programs for students. From international perspective in general, let me just quickly run through the chat. Any placement options available, any internships? In terms of internships, BIC doesn't have specific graduate internship programs at the moment in the UK. I know that the US and France have started running some graduate programs more specific. So do have a look on our careers page and have a look at France and US. For UK, we do have roles that come up regularly that may be suitable. So again, I would encourage you to have a look. All applications are taken forward, you know, and get fair assessments. But yeah, I'll have to find out on the sponsorship side of things. Are there any placement options available for accounting and finance sector? I don't know off the top of my head at the moment, but again, it's something that you need to find out on the BIC Careers website more specifically. So if you're looking at a specific area, use the drop down boxes to find find if there are any opportunities, whether it's in the UK or outside. And then international students without work experience. I guess
I think I can help with this one since I'm
go for it, Anna.
So obviously I'm not from the UK, I'm from Portugal. Like I said, I'm still an international student. So it really depends on, you need to look for jobs that are for graduates. So for example, my position as sales executive. So executive is a job that don't really requires work experience. Obviously it's always a plus. But I think it really, you need to look for those types of jobs, and obviously having a visa helps. So I have the pre-settled status, which is why I'm allowed to work here, but you always have to look into those sorts of things. So I think I have a friend from Vietnam. She applied for a graduate visa after she graduated, so she can work here for 2 years. So you should look into that. That will help you also get a job and then get sponsored after your visa ends. That's my take on it.
Thanks, Anna. And I think there is another question that you might be able to help on as well. What framework would you use to effectively sell yourself in an interview on your Enactus experience?
Well, like I said, my experience at Enactus was a bit brief. I feel like Ned would have a stronger answer for this. But like I said, it's the creativity, the can-do attitude. I know a lot of Enactus members were always like can-do attitude, proactive, which is something that employers really value because it shows that you are hard-driven. I think that's hard-driven. You are hard-driven. You have objectives. So yeah, just if you hopefully will, when you hopefully land interview, just show those things, show like that you will always wanted to participate, even if you didn't have your own project. Just being an Enactus member shows that you have the skills, have the drive to be able to help the company as well in their in growing.
Exactly. And I'd say just general advice in terms of interviews. What really kind of helped me when looking for a job in the past is using the STAR framework. I don't know if anyone has heard of the STAR framework in giving your answers. So STAR stands for situation, task, action, and result. So when you're giving an answer to any question in an interview, have a think about that structure. So first you explain what the situation is relating to that question. Then you give a specific example of a task that relates to the question. And then you say what action you took, and then what all of those components have given as a result, kind of what happened. And that way you're giving a full all-round answer in an interview that the employer is looking for.
I've just popped the National Careers Services overview of what the STAR method is. If you want more information on that, into the chat. That's something we're really big on at Enactus as well, is that method, particularly for the reason that it enables you, as Claudia rightly said, to give answers which are example focused, because your experience at Enactus, the real kind of like shining light of what that can give you is real world kind of like working examples of how you overcame various situations, especially around kind of project-based work that you've done within an Enactus project, or even within your Enactus team and more team dynamics focused examples. Enactus gives you those examples, and using the STAR method really shows those examples off in their best light.
Absolutely. Any more? What are red flags for companies? I guess it depends what your expectations are. I think it's very subjective. I don't really know how to answer that in any other way.
I don't feel like there's red flags. It's only if you would fit into the role or not.
Exactly.
And then from then, it's just like if you would be a good fit. Yeah. I don't feel like companies have red flags for candidates.
No, I think, Anna, you've just touched on a really important thing. Like when you're in an interview or on your job search, you are the person getting interviewed, but make sure that you also reverse interview the company. So yes, the employers are looking for specific qualities that will fit you into the company, but make sure you also are finding out whether the company is a good fit for you or the role.
Completely. Yeah.
Cool. Any more?
I feel like no one has more questions.
That's fine. We've had a great little Q&A session there, drawn on all sorts of different aspects of CVs, interviews, and kind of BIC as well on top of that, and kind of going back into what BIC are all about as an organisation. Claudia, I don't know if you want to talk about the upcoming event on the 9th of November.
Yeah, so I wanted to take this opportunity to also let you all know to save the date on the 9th of November, as BIC will be hosting, as in partnership with Enactus UK, will be hosting a session which will be a Q&A with the leaders of the BIC organisation to demonstrate the power of creativity in the professional world. So it's really an opportunity for you to connect and network with the BIC leaders and the wider team. And on the day, we will also be launching our 2022-23 partner competition. So all applications will open to any projects that you'll have in line with our brief. So yeah, an opportunity for you to gain insight into how to develop personally and also benefit your project applications in the future.
Yeah, really excited about this one. As you can see from there, the partner competition itself will launch straight after that session on the 9th of November, but registration for the BIC Roundtable on the 9th will be sent out, and you'll see it all over Enactus social media. You'll be sent an email about it as well at the end of this week, either on Friday or Monday, and you'll be sent that link to register for that. So make sure that you do, because it's a fantastic opportunity to hear from leaders within BIC all about the Corporate Foundation and what they do. So thank you very much. If we've got no further questions, which I don't think we do, I always take that as a sign that we've answered every possible question. There can't ever be any more. We've done a fantastic job. So thank you so much to Anna and Claudia for the session this afternoon. It's been absolutely fantastic and a great start to the Employability Week. Thank you to all of you as well for joining.